Ready to prioritize yourself? Your skin is a great place to start. Dime Beauty, founded by a master esthetician, is more than just a skincare company. With 4 skin-conscious categories, skincare, beauty, body care, and fragrance, Dime offers simple, spa-worthy products that will help bring your glow back. Whether you're revitalizing your regimen with nourishing products or building one from scratch, Dime makes it easy. The Work System, our all-in-one best-selling routine, includes a cleanser of your choice, toner, serums, and moisturizers, taking the guesswork out of skincare for your healthiest, happiest skin yet. Dime's commitment to clean ingredients and sustainable packaging ensures every product is as gentle on your skin as it is on the planet. With thousands of glowing 5-star reviews and a loyal community, the results speak for themselves. Revive your skin and give yourself the routine refresh you deserve by visiting dimebeautyco.com. That's dimebeautyco.com. Your best skin awaits.
Hey, Fee.
Hi, Lee.
We're here for a slightly different episode, but we're so excited.
Yeah, we thought we'd just do a little bonus app. It's been a bit of a strange summer in a way for Lee and I. We are very grateful that you've stuck with us through our sabbatical, where your queer gals just sort of went to the movies and kind of divorced ourselves from politics for a little while. So we thought we owed you a little bit of an insight into why we took our break.
Yes.
And what we've been up to in the interim.
Agreed. Yes, 100%. And yeah, we're so excited. We've mentioned a little bit in the movie episodes that we did. And I hope you enjoyed watching those silly movies as much as we did. We know it's not Sorkin, but it felt fun. But we have been making a theater show together for the first time in a couple of years. It's been since the pandemic, since we've made theater together. And it kind of finally felt like we kind of only ever wanted to do it again. We had our hearts a bit broken by a tour that never happened because of the pandemic. Yeah. And I think we only ever really wanted to do it again if it felt like it was absolutely the right project at the right time and the right idea. We worked for many years together with me as a writer-performer and Fee directing and always being my first set of eyes for everything I've ever written. Yeah. And so we decided to kind of get the band back together, if you will.
Yeah, for one last heist.
It does feel that way. To make ROTUS, Receptionist to the United States, which when this comes out will be nearing the end of our Edinburgh Fringe run.
Yes. So that's kind of why we took a bit of a break and decided to have a summer of silliness with our silly, girly and mildly political, but maybe not political enough films. Because Lee has been tirelessly writing and redrafting and graciously receiving my notes and then redrafting this solo show. And then we've been in rehearsals, and then Lee has been up in Edinburgh for the full month of August performing this show every day. And so, yeah, we kind of thought that because we were focusing in on a story that was so inherently political for this one-person show, in the rest of our lives and in the world of the podcast, we needed something a little lighter. Mm-hmm. But Lee, we thought you'd just jump on and give you a little kind of chit-chat about why we decided to make the show, a little bit about the show itself, and the process of making it. So Lee, I guess my first question to you is, why did you want to write ROTUS?
Well, I think like many people, I was kind of electrified, feels like the kind of TV word to use, by watching Cassidy Hutchinson giving her testimony in the January 6th hearings 3 years ago now in 2022. And I think since then, I've been really thinking about the young women of MAGA and the Donald Trump world, because to me, it seems kind of so paradoxical that as a young woman, you'd be drawn to conservatism, that especially that you would be so kind of gung-ho for Donald Trump and MAGA that you would make it your career, especially now in this second Trump administration where we have the examples of Cassidy Hutchinson and Alyssa Farah and Sarah Matthews, these women who, you know, stood up against MAGA and have really kind of reaped the wrath.
Yeah.
Cassidy Hutchinson wrote her book in hiding because she had so many threats on her life after she testified. And therefore, I find figures like Caroline Leavitt now, the White House press secretary, also a young woman who worked with all of these women in the first Trump administration. I find the choice to not see that cycle really interesting.
Yeah, it's super captivating. And I think it's very easy to send up these women or caricature them. And that in itself has been done a lot in popular culture. And so I think something that you are keen to do with this show, and I'm in full support of, is presenting them as full people and allowing characters to become aware of, or continuing to remain unaware of, the cycle that they're in. Because, calling something stupid in politics doesn't tend to make it powerful. I mean, we've seen that in US politics and definitely in politics in the UK, where figures who are made fun of, be that Donald Trump, it's easy to laugh and be like, wow, isn't he so silly? But sometimes that allows actually that figure to become more powerful, because we continually underestimate. Yeah. And I think that's something that's useful to see in these young women as well. Often there's a lot of dialogue around how young they are. Some of them are in their early 20s and they're holding hugely powerful positions. They're not getting those positions, by accident.
No.
They are committed to the cause. They're incredibly driven, incredibly intelligent individuals. And so I think that adds almost to this mystique that they have. You're so smart and you're so capable. Why can't you see the trap, for want of a better phrase, that you're in? And so I think that's part of the interest of the show for me as a theatre maker was, not patronizing the actual characters in the show.
100%. I totally agree. And I think, I'm obviously, as listeners of this podcast know, an Irish American, and I'm very proud of both of my nationalities. And, in Ireland, theatre is protest. Theatre has a huge part in Ireland's national history as a point of uprising, as a point of kind of sticking it to power. So I think it was important to present a play that is standing against the current, dare I say, regime.
I think you dare. I think we dare now. I think that seems to be what's happening. Yeah. And so do you want to tell us a little bit about the character that you've created, who is our kind of sole focus in this show?
Yes. So I'm playing Chastity Quirk, who is White House receptionist. And she has basically been pulled in she's been recognized for her people skills, for her kind of ruthless ambition, to be quite honest with you, by the White House chief of staff in this world, Garrison Marshall, to basically be his eyes and ears so that they can weed out together the disloyal within, in this world, the Trump White House.
Yes. And we follow Chastity in this show from that first interview that she has for the job all the way through to her last day working for the administration over the course of 4 years almost. And how she grows as an individual and how she doubles down on some of her beliefs and allows some of her beliefs to be changed. A classic question to ask you, and I'm sure you're going to get blue in the face for answering this over the next month or so, is why now?
Well, as I say, I was very inspired by what Cassidy Hutchinson did. I disagree. As we said in our episode where we covered, who even is Cassidy Hutchinson, I disagree with almost everything she stands for. But I was very inspired by what she did. And I mean, I think we would both agree it's not a shock to either of us. I think we both know that young women are brave. I don't think I was shocked by her courage in doing that. But I think I was shocked and impressed and inspired that you could so openly support and avow conservatism and also be the one who is speaking truth to that power. And then I think, as were we all, I was really shaken up by Kamala Harris losing the last election. And as I say, we have Trump for another 3 years. And as an Irish playwright, theatre is protest. And I think it's really important to protest right now in any way that we can. And I suppose this is my way of protesting.
Nice. Thank you.
How has it been for you, Fee, directing the show?
Well, I'm first and foremostly, let me just take a moment to say how much I love working with you. It's always an absolute pleasure. I've really enjoyed it. I've really enjoyed the process. I somehow in my career have kind of got really good at directing one-person shows. I say that in a very modest way. It just seems to be that's the style of theatre that I keep coming back to. And I think in terms of storytelling, I love that because you're so limited with what you can do. You have one person and that's all you've got to tell the story. And that in itself is really exciting. And Lee, because she's phenomenal, manages to portray all of these, tens of different characters on stage by herself, which is very impressive, but like super challenging. And like those are the sorts of things as a director that are really satisfying to work in the rehearsal room. I think the thing that I've loved the most is digging into a world and creating a world that really toes the line of satire. And I think from my experience as a British theatre maker, often that's our kind of protest is we've always found the dark comedy when we're portraying kind of like the pitfalls of British politics. And so it felt really nice to kind of add my own sprinkling of that into this story and how, we're laughing until we're not. And then even when we're not, there's still kind of jokes to be found because I believe that like that's our way through this is we can laugh, but we're not dismissing the darkness.
Yes.
And the power that these individuals have. And I think that's lovely. And I think that's something that the show's really great at is that kind of balance between comedy and tragedy, I guess, and drama. So I've loved that. And I think, as you say, when I read the news, I often feel like I have nothing in common with these very conservative kind of MAGA-loving women. And then I think through the process of working on this show, I guess I now have more understanding and more context for how perhaps you could find yourself leaning towards that side of politics and how attractive it is made to young white Christian women in America. And so, that in itself I think has been really interesting. And as someone who knows very little about anything,
that is not
famously,
true. You should give yourself more credit.
Thank you. I feel like I've learned a lot through doing this podcast, but I'm still baby steps. I think I've learned a lot more doing this show.
Yeah, and I think while tonally the show that we've made is nothing like The West Wing, which is obviously like naturalism.
Let's be clear.
So intense. An incredible piece of writing, like and like every episode is beautifully directed. It's just like incredible. But I think while it's like tonally a completely different thing, artistically a completely different thing, I think we would not have made the show we have made if we had not gotten into watching The West Wing.
Agreed.
It's definitely informed by, lovingly an ode to, if you will.
Yeah, with thanks to
yes,
Aaron Sorkin and the gang. And I think also, and I say it quite a lot when we're doing our normal episodes, which is the great thing about The West Wing is that the team gets it right as much as they get it wrong. And I think that's something that we've kind of brought into this story. It's, we're not, you can't just punch down all the time and expect anything to change. You've got to make an argument and you've got to show both sides of it and you've got to pull that argument apart. And that was the intention behind this show. And I think why we're kind of really excited to start performing it for audiences and to, see what they're taking away from it, because the best kinds of theatre and the most satisfying kinds of theatre to make and to watch are ones that everyone has something different to talk about afterwards. And so that's kind of our hope.
And I think also, young white women were a big part of what let Kamala Harris down. And so I think it feels important to, as two relatively young white women, it feels important to kind of call out our own and examine our own community as to why we may have let ourselves down a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. So I guess that leaves us with nothing else to say other than if you were one of the people who came to see ROTUS over the summer, or if you have plans to see ROTUS, thank you so much.
We so appreciate everyone who bought a ticket. One of our listeners flew over to London to see one of our previews, which was just so incredible.
And it was so lovely. And it was great to have that person come up and say I had a really great time, and just chat about the podcast a little bit. And it was really meaningful. So thank you so much.
Yes. Hopefully Edinburgh's gone well. We'll be almost at the other side of it by the time you're listening to this. And we will be ready and raring. Secretly, we have already recorded some of the eps. We will be ready and raring to come back and dive into season 3, which is, I know, what you've all actually been waiting for this whole time.
Thank you for being so patient with us. We really appreciate it. Yeah, so we will see you for season 3 of Queer Gals Watch the West Wing.
In the fall.
With Manchester Part 1.
See you then.
Bye.
Bye.